Unlike fanny packs, bowl cuts, and troll dolls, the sensation is back, only at Zaxby's. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich features hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, and both are served with an egg roll. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich meal, for a limited time, only at Zaxby's. And skip the line when you order ahead on the Zaxby's app or on Zaxby's.com.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan Hajavandi alongside Corey S. Clark. We are inside the Midtown offices, Tallahassee, Florida. We're both employed by WarChant.com. Check them out. Check us out. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Use the promo code WarChant30 for 30 free days of access to the website. If you're a Florida State student, use the promo code. No, I don't know what the promo code is. Email us, though, from your FSU student email address. Email support@warchant.com. They will then give you a promo code that gives you 12 months of access for $12. And judging by the attendance on Saturday, lots of students still heavily invested in the overall well-being of Florida State's football program. Corey, I'm going to have to go to you on this. You are the moral compass of the program.
Absolutely.
Over-unders. As you know, the top 5 performers always are able to win some free food from our friends at Zaxby's participating locations here in Tallahassee, as well as Thomasville, Georgia, Douglas, Georgia, Marietta, Florida. And we have some tiebreakers, 5 out of 6. So we got a lot of folks who only missed just one. But you and I, you got one right. I got 2 right. You were correct.
The whole thing only got one right?
Louisville rushing yards 170. You got it correct. I got it wrong. You said under. I said over. Florida State's halftime lead, 12 points. We both said under. That was wrong. Leyburn touches 8. You said over. I don't know why you said that. I said under. I was right on that. Terry, 90 yards receiving. We both said over. We were wrong. Attendance, 52,500. We both said over. We were wrong. And then total points, 61. You said under. I said over.
So I got 2 right.
What was the final score? I'm terrible at math, apparently. They didn't go over?
35-24, so 59 points.
Okay. Well, I got to do this all. All right, you're good then. So you went 2 and 5, I went 1 and 4.
All right, making up ground, baby.
No, you went 2 and 4, I went 1 and 5, rather. Yeah, you did make
up ground.
Well, I got to do this all over.
1 week at a time.
I'm so over this. Guys, I'm probably going to stop doing this free food thing. It's just too much work. Too much work, and then you guys get free food, which is really easy. But yeah, so basically what I was going to ask you was
It's the spirit that counts anyway, man. It's the thought counts.
Somebody had, I can't believe this 2 weeks in a row, I can't put the over on there. I can't add. So somebody had, the same person posted their over-under picks on the Tribal Council on War Chant, and then also posted picks on Twitter.
Okay.
So on one of them, they went 5 of 6, I thought, but actually they went 4 of 6 because it was under on the total points scored. So, should I have given them the free food, or should I have been like, no? That's bad sportsmanship to do 2 picks. This isn't March Madness.
So they were 2 different.
Same person.
No, but I mean they were 2 different.
Completely
2 different answers.
Completely different.
No. Can't do it, man. We only take one. Yeah, it's like March Madness. It's one bracket. Yeah.
Well, no, you can do a bunch of different brackets. There's a little
bit more.
In
a tiebreaker, we're always going to go to the Tribal Council. We're always going to go to what you leave on War Chant because you're a paid subscriber, and we appreciate that. I feel like that gets a little more. That wins the tie. Then I know it's the same person, but still, we got to take what you do on War Chant instead of that free app.
So anyhow, I don't know who the winners are now because I counted the wrong thing here. But we'll
maybe by the end of the show.
No, there's no way I'm doing this. No, there's like 150 submissions.
Well, I'm saying you could do it and then just re-record something in the final 30 seconds and say,
hey, that's I'll do more work. Cool, Corey. I'll do that for sure, man.
You're going to have to do that anyway.
Well, maybe I want to relax and watch the rest of Sunday Night Football.
All right, buddy. Sure. All right.
Anyhow, let's talk about the game. Florida State improves to 2-2 on the season after that 35-24 win, which was the under on the total points scored. Alex Hornibrook thrust into duty, had 38 reps to James Blackman's 37. Hornibrook graded out at a 91 on Pro Football Focus. Some people want to start the Heisman campaign. Other folks, just kind of happy with what happened there. So I guess let's start there, right? Corey, I guess, is that probably the biggest thing to talk about after the game? Or no, the exercising of the demons, I guess, right?
No, I would say Hornibrook. I'm not convinced those demons have been exercised. I think they were worked around a little bit. They overcame them.
Exorcise,
not exercise like Jane Fonda, but exorcise. But no, man, I think I don't want to put too much stock in the 2 touchdowns because the kids were wide open both times for Hornibrook.
That's how they design it, though.
But he saw it, and he got it to him quick. And you don't need a rocket cannon arm in this offense if you make the right throw most of the time. Mm-hmm. His biggest throw was the one to DJ. Great catch by DJ, by the way, on that second 20. That was a game saver right after Fagan's pick. But he just it did feel a little different. Even the drives that he didn't score touchdowns, it felt a little different. It felt like it had a little better rhythm maybe. He sees it a little quicker, gets it out maybe a little quicker. But there are going to be throws that he just can't make. There are going to be sides of the field that he can't get it to. So we hope that Blackman's okay or will be back at some point this season, that it's not a season ender. And that'll be the question they have to ask themselves.
Do we, though, really? Have you
read
I know.
Yeah, I'm saying it me personally because I like the kid. I'd hate for him to be injured for the entire season.
Which I don't think people want to see him injured, but I think people want to see him no longer playing for this university. There's a lot of people. There's people that they're
not
done.
playing. You
They've
mean
been
not
done.
like he gets kicked off the team,
No.
just that he's
Yeah,
not
just
the
sit.
starting quarterback.
Yeah, sit, man.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not there.
I'm not there either. I'm not there.
A lot of people are though. Crazy. I can't even go on the boards right now. It's pretty absurd. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, Hornibrook was 15 of 20. Most of his yards did come on those 2 throws where the guys were wide open. But, again, he did see it, and he got it to him quick, and they made plays. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
So his first touchdown was to Helton, right, for 40-something yards?
on the second play, 44-yarder.
And then he hit Terry for 60 yards?
Yeah. And then he had 140 yards on his other 13 completions, which still isn't bad. It's 10 yards of completion.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones was the DJ Matthews one then, and then I think on the drive that they ended up scoring the touchdown to put it away after roughing the kicker, Terry makes that catch over the middle on the ball that was tipped a little bit. But he was throwing to Terry. Now, it got tipped, but he's making the right read and making the right throw. Yeah. Again, you see the arm, folks. It's not anything special at all. But I don't know.
Why are you so hung up on that, Corey? People want to know why you're so hung up on that.
Because there will be times where, if he's rolling to his right or his left, there just aren't there are going to be some throws he can't make. Mm-hmm. He can't make. And I don't know what that does to 15 as far as, deep routes. I don't know that he can throw deep routes to 15. Like, unless he just gets it and throws it. Like, literally catches it, takes one look, and then throws it. Otherwise, I don't know that he can get it to him. But you also don't maybe need him to. He didn't do that Saturday, and he still scored 2 touchdowns and should have had 2 field goals while he was quarterback too.
Yeah, someone wanted to know if you were going to start the show by apologizing to Hornibrook for making fun of him so much. We lose that game if not for him. So
no, I'm not. I don't know that I've made fun of him. I've made fun of his arm strength in the past, which it's I think that's
no, you don't
something
have
you
to.
can live with.
Man,
but I call him Hornswoggle. What are you going to do? It's better than Horn Dog. I don't like Horn Dog. I think that's going to take off, but I don't like that. I don't like all that stuff. Don't like any of that. We don't need it.
How old are we? You guys got mortgages and families.
Yeah, we don't need all that. Hornswoggle, of course, is hilarious. Yeah. But the Horn Dog and the horny this and horny that, we don't need it.
Stop playing swag surf. Play me so horny instead.
Well, that did make me laugh. You just saying that. That's pretty funny.
That actually is kind of funny. The rest of the stuff, maybe not so much.
But, what did you think? I think
Jordan Travis might be able to have done that.
Maybe. I thought Hornibrook looked comfortable in it, looked confident in it. He moved around a little. He looked really – there were a couple plays where it was almost like – it looked like the play had been whistled dead. He looked so calm in the pocket.
Somebody asked him a weird question about that. Like, you look so calm when you get
like
the
he
ball.
Just stands up straight almost, just kind of like Le'Veon Bell looking for a hole to run through. He's just kind of just calm and out there. He's not athletic, obviously,
but I thought he showed.
Yeah, he could move in the
better
pocket.
Elusiveness than James,
and that's a big thing. It's like I always say this, but Winky obviously couldn't outrun an elephant. Are elephants fast? That might not be a great analogy.
I think
a dying elephant, a pregnant elephant. Winky couldn't outrun a pregnant elephant.
Well, a pregnant elephant's got instincts to protect her unborn, so she's going to be faster than a regular elephant.
Maybe, but he could move around in the pocket a little bit. He could avoid pressure to make throws downfield. I thought Hornibrook did do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, really good job.
Small sample size. We've seen James Blackman make 150 throws in this offense. We've seen Hornibrook make 20, but they were an impressive 20. And I don't remember all the incompletions, but I feel like he had 5. I feel like at least 3 of them were just throwing it away.
There weren't a lot of. There was none of those.
No, there were no.
What are you doing?
No. The closest I think to him having an interception is late in the game on the ball that was tipped that Terry caught and then almost fumbled. Other than that, he seemed to make the real simple throws and the real simple reads. And man, if you can do that in this offense, you have a shot to move the ball.
And those will be created a lot. I think that's obviously how Kendall has this offense designed, is to open those things up because of the RPO action. I just don't know how many times, I don't know how plentiful those sort of open, perfectly executed, perfectly designed, perfectly bid into by the defense. Like how many of those are going to be available against Clemson and against Miami and against Florida? Because I do think what we witnessed, I mean it's 4 games now. We're a third of the way through the season. This is going to be Florida State football for the next 7 out of the 8 games, maybe 6.
Yeah, you're talking about not necessarily jumping out to a 21-0 lead, but being in a game.
Yes,
yeah.
Like fourth quarter, second half, they'll be in it. Clemson, unlikely. I don't think Florida's amazing by any stretch, but that's just going to be a really tough ask to go into Gainesville and beat that team. So it could potentially maybe not be that competitive in the fourth quarter, which I know people are probably upset about me saying, but that's the way I feel about it. Every other game, actually, with the exception of Alabama State, they should be able to get carried away. So, but yeah, what we witnessed, I think, on Saturday, that's kind of going to be status quo, and the fact they were able to win a game, make plays down when it counted. I mean, down in the game on defense in the red zone. It's encouraging. It beats the alternative. However, Louisville's not. I don't think Louisville's a really good team. They'll be decent. Maybe they'll be able to sneak into a bowl game, but I don't think NC State's going to be that good. I don't think those coin flip games. I think now are like 65-35 games for you.
Maybe I would lean a little closer to 50-50 until I see what Hornibrook is like, or if this defense is really starting to find some sort of life. But yeah, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, those 3 for sure. I would even throw Miami in there. Miami beat Central Michigan 17-13. Those 4 for sure seem like just straight up. If you play well, you're going to win those games. You are not going to be overwhelmed by those teams at all. Wake,
that's going to be a tricky game, I think.
Wake?
Yes.
But I think they're underdogs in that game. I mean, Wake has an offense that can move, and that kid is really impressive. And
Jamie Newman, the quarterback, he has some really big wide receivers as well.
Yeah, and so I think that's probably the third hardest, in my opinion, probably the third hardest game left on their schedule. But yeah, they're all pretty much winnable. Death Valley's out of the equation. Yeah. You don't even really have to go if you don't want to. You really don't.
Make it a second bye week. Just get ready for the rest of the season.
What are they going to do? Yeah. I guess the ACC would probably frown on it. The ESPN wouldn't be. You know what you say? It's like, look, guys, if you don't give the people of Tallahassee the ACC network, we're not showing up to your little football game. We're not doing it. Yeah. If it's a forfeit, I think the score's like 2-0. Then we skyrocket up in scoring defense in the country. So give us a reason to go to that game, because right now, unless we get the ACC network, we're forfeiting. But yeah, other than the Clemson game, I think you have a real chance to be in all these games. And I do think I was just thinking about it right when we sat down. You can do the whole what if, and they're literally 3 plays away from being 4-0.
Yeah, how about that? Not to sorry to cut you off. I'm not going to apologize for doing it because I did it.
Well, it's our show. It's not my show.
I did kind of want to ask you that. I went off script here to a bit. But so with 4 games played, you said they're a handful of plays away from being a 4-0 team. As of now, would you say that Florida State's been lucky, unlucky, or have things broken about even?
I feel like unlucky. I don't think it's been even. I only because in 3 of these 4 games, they have dominated long stretches of them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Boise State, maybe not so much. They got kind of lucky defensively with some turnovers and whatnot. But offensively, they were just there was nothing fluky about it. It didn't feel like. And then they just choked it away at the end. Same thing with Louisiana Monroe, but maybe we just call that an aberration. We don't even think about it. So the 3 FBS games they played, well, Louisiana Monroe's an FBS team.
Power 5.
So
they're not Power 5 either.
Boise, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So the 3 okay teams they played. They haven't been embarrassed at all. And I know we can roll our eyes and say that's the standard now. But last year it happened all the time. That was an embarrassing effort in the second half against Virginia Tech. It was an embarrassing effort the whole game against Syracuse. This team is making strides where you look at it and you're like, man, they really are a couple of plays away from being 4-0. The Akers fumble against Boise, and I hate to call him out because he's been so great, but if he doesn't fumble, I think they win that game. Virginia, well, who knows? Virginia, I think, was probably the right score. They could have won that. They should have held on. Maybe they get that 4th and 2 stop and things are different. Or if Blackman doesn't overthrow Terry by a million miles. I wanted to point that out.
You're going to overtime.
Yeah,
though.
but I did want to point that, well, maybe they have that 2-point conversion play.
Right.
That was their 2-point conversion play. And hopefully they would have all known what they were doing before they ran out there.
Would they have taken a delay of game to maybe get a little more breathing room?
Yeah, Blackman likes to throw it from the 8, not the 3, which that actually makes a little more sense than what Bruce Arians said with that field goal. But anyway, I was going to say we can shrug off the throw to Terry that Hornibrook made, like he's wide open. As long as you see, but you have to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm not killing James Blackman, but there was a play late in that game where he has a guy streaking similarly. It wasn't that obvious where the guy was on the field by himself and the crowd's like, oh, no, get it to him. Yeah. But it was pretty obvious that the kid was running down the sideline wide open, and your quarterback didn't see it.
And Kendall did say that was primary, or
was supposed to be that's the first read. And then he works back to McKitty. He just looked right at McKitty. So maybe in this instance, in that play, he's not even looking to the right. He's looking here. He's looking at the line. He's going to pull it out and throw it somewhere else. I'm not saying that would have happened. I like James Blackman, but I don't want to just dismiss Hornibrook seeing it. Like that's 90% of being a quarterback is just seeing it and reacting quickly. So anyway, so back to the team. Last year was just so awful, and there was no hope, and most of the games weren't even that competitive. I do think that, they're 3-1 would probably be a fair record for them, but they really are close. I think they're a bit unlucky to be 2-2. Let me put it that way. I know we can say they missed the extra point. The Louisiana Monroe missed the extra point, but that game just got away from them weirdly. But they were in control of that game. Let me be a little more, just articulate, if I can be for a second and start talking. When you've watched these 4 games, wouldn't you say that Florida State has been the better team in all 4? Are not considerably the lesser team.
That Boise game, they felt like they were a better team than Boise. Just the offense, for whatever reason, couldn't get out of its way in the second half. Virginia,
maybe, right? That's maybe. I felt they were better. I felt they were a better team. I thought they played better. I thought they controlled the line of scrimmage. Really kind of on both sides of the ball. I thought they ran the ball even pretty well against Virginia. So when you look at this team, that's where I think you can see the strides. Is okay. They're not obviously, inferior to their opponent. And there were times Virginia Tech, Syracuse early on last season, and then obviously Florida, Clemson. They didn't belong on the field with those teams. Yeah. They didn't look like they belonged on the field with those teams. This time, I think they do, but I think NC State will be a good test, right? Because NC State's one of the teams that just blew their doors off last year. Now they get them at home.
All that good this year, though.
No, they don't. But it still would be at least a nice little litmus test. Now that you're playing a common opponent from last year, to see where the stride has been made. I know Louisville was, but that game up there was so goofy, and it is a new staff.
Well, it's the same thing, though, I feel like. Louisville threw a stupid interception in the fourth quarter last year that lost them the game, and I think they threw a stupid interception on Saturday that cost them the game. A little bit different. They had no business throwing the ball in 2018.
No, this one was like 9 minutes left. Yeah. So and that kid was feeling good about himself. They're a little different relatively scenarios. But I think for 2.5 quarters, you thought you didn't really feel like Florida State was in danger. And you should, folks. Anytime they jump out to a lead, just assume the other team's going to come back, and they are in danger of losing. But there's a way that this thing gets away from this football team right now, which is the thing they have to stop. And maybe that's what the game on Saturday was exercising those demons, where now if things start going poorly, somebody knows they can make a play and stem the tide. And because that hadn't happened really at all the whole season. Anytime it starts spiraling, it was just disgusting. And the only reason they got down the field against Virginia late in the game was because of all the dumb penalties that Virginia committed. This was a game, for the first time in a long time, it was a fourth quarter I thought they should feel good about.
I thought they played a pretty decent fourth quarter against Louisiana Monroe. I mean, they had to go down and score points. They scored 14, I think, in the fourth quarter. Did they not? Or at least got a touchdown. They were down in that game, right? They fell behind, did we not?
They did, and then they drove down the field, and then they got really lucky that Louisiana Monroe tried to kick a field goal instead of going for. But the defense didn't. The defense just completely collapsed against Louisiana Monroe and let them do whatever they wanted. I thought against Louisville, especially those last two drives, last three drives, if you count the interception, I thought they played really, really well.
That sounds weird. I just don't like they've played hard every single game. Like I don't think they played any harder. I don't think
they were soft in those first two games. To me, I thought they were soft in the middle. They were soft tackling, especially in the second half. It was just whatever you want, we're going to let you run us over. That hadn't happened the last 2 weeks. Virginia just dink and dunked because they knew they couldn't run on them. But I thought that at least they kind of bowed up a little bit and showed some heart and fight, especially this last week when it mattered. They finally got a stop. They took the lead, and you're automatically assuming, okay, well, Louisville's just going to go right down the field and score. No, they got a 3 and out. And Marvin Wilson and Durden were just killing those guys. No. Good to see.
Yeah.
Not a great team.
Beats the alternative.
Obviously, it definitely beats the alternative because that would have made this a really ugly week for Willie Taggart.
See, it's funny that you mentioned the whole fact that, be prepared, even when Florida State goes up big, that this game is still not over. There's nobody that watches football you could not watch the first, 20 minutes, 25 minutes of that game. And I still am not acclimated to this new normal, if that's what it is. They looked nothing short of amazing for the first 25 minutes of the game against Louisville. That offense looked amazing.
The defense, I thought, was pretty darn good, too.
And, and I remember saying at the end of the show, I'm like, I think this is going to be a problem, or it's not going to be an easy game for them playing Louisville. And when they got off to that start, I kind of joke with you, or a joke to Ira. I'm like, I think this is going to be my Corey Clark 2013 Maryland's a problem game.
Right.
They're just going to get off and blow.
Maryland might be a problem. I didn't predict that they were our problem. I just said they might be.
Well, I'm like, Louisville might be a problem, and it is incredible how good they look. Like if you're a Gator fan, if you're a Miami fan, and you see that, you're like, God damn.
Yeah.
This is going to be a problem for us. And then somehow things just invariably just slow down for them. So I guess that gets back to the whole point of lucky, unlucky, or I feel like things have kind of broken. I think they've kind of broken even. Because, again, I think that was a terrible throw. The roughing the kicker call, that's kind of a lucky one. Tamorian not getting flagged. Who knows what happens if he gets flagged on that and it gets bounced, has to come back. The missing of the extra point. But then people say, well, Guile missed all those field goals. I feel like that's kind of part of the flow of a game. It's really not a –
But no, you weren't watching that game saying – you don't think Florida State got lucky to win, right?
Oh, no. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of people that are saying, listen, and there's good things to feel about from the Louisville game that you just talked about. Coming back, holding on to the lead, getting some stops, things running wide open and being able to locate it and capitalize on it. Cam Akers scoring 3 touchdowns. Marvin Wilson absolutely just physically humiliating other grown men who are paid money to play collegiate football. There's so many things to feel good about. But I do think that some of this needs to be taken in a bit of measure, and you're afraid to talk about it on a show like this because then people are like, well, you're being negative. It's a backup quarterback. It's Louisville. It's a backup quarterback that, I don't know. I think Puma Pass looked better than he did last year. And
that's not saying much.
Yeah,
Puma Pass did not look good last year.
And Louisville clung to running the ball for 2.5 quarters. It was only, but they actually were running the ball pretty decent.
At the end, they started running it. Yeah, they started running a lot better in the final.
I'm just like
quarter and a half.
You got it. If you want to try to win this game, you should probably stop running the ball because it's not very successful for you right now. But I don't think NC State is that much more of an opposing team. I don't think Syracuse is that much of an opposing team. I don't know if Boston College is going to be that. Miami. What scares about Miami is I think they do have a good defense. Yeah, I don't think guys are going to run wide open like that. Scott Satterfield was quite upset in his post-game comments apparently on that. They did call a defensive back, maybe a cornerback blitz or a safety blitz on that, but both guys blitz leaving. you can't leave him completely wide open. That's leaving Peter Warwick completely wide open. You just can't do that kind of stuff. I don't think Miami will do that. But all these other games, those 4 games you talk about, your NC State, your Boston College, Alabama State. I guess Miami falls in there too, just being a winnable game, despite having a little bit of concern about their defense. I'm not ready to say that this turned everything around. Here we go.
Oh, no, and I think what it did was it's just where we are, man. It made a bowl a possibility.
Yeah, it's back on the table.
And it made Willie Taggart's tenure here perhaps tenable. And I know that might sound like a pretty grandiose statement, but if you lose that game to a guy in his 4th game, and if you blow another 21-point lead at home in front of that crowd's a big deal, man. You had the lowest crowd. That's the smallest crowd I have to imagine since Bowden's first or second year. I
think Twitter was saying since '83.
Yeah, so that would have been his 7th year, but and that's back when it only seated like 60,000. That's not good. That's not good. And I don't know how many more people will come out Saturday night against NC State, but if you lose that game, there might have been 30,000. And that's when decisions have to be made. I know we can talk about firing and not firing.
They're nice. Stay until 2021. Do you not listen to your co-host?
No, I listen to you. Just it's one in, one ear out the other. But so that was a really big win and a really big comeback. And is it the start of something? It's not the start of something special. Yeah. We're not expecting a run to a Charlotte to have started on beating Malik Cunningham in week 4. That is his name, right? Malik?
Correct.
But it at least was something to feel good about, that they finally – because we've talked a lot about how it seems to be such an unlikable team by and large, because they melt in the moment. When things get tight, they completely melt and fold, not to mention all the stuff they do celebration-wise. Mm-hmm. And Tamarian, I can't keep saying this. I am your guy. Come on, man. That, by letter of the law, should have been a penalty. And it should have been 1st and 10 from the 18.
1st and goal.
Is that right? Would it be for? I don't know if that would. I don't know if that
because it happened at the 3-yard line, right?
Yeah, but it's not after the play, so I think it.
Right.
So I don't know if it'd be 1st and 10 from the 18. But anyway, you're taking a touchdown off the board, and you're going back to the 18, and all you did was catch a ball wide open and run really fast. It's not like you
team that went.
But no, but it's not like he beat the guy. The guy that he was saying deuces to wasn't the guy that he beat. He's just a dude that was running from the other side of the field. You're supposed to beat him. Just don't do that stuff, dude. It's just stuff like that. But also I thought that finally they showed some heart and some character, and I know those are cliches, but when it mattered, when it was, blank cutting time, they finally played well and made plays, which is what you're at Florida State for. You're not supposed to shrink in the moment. You're supposed to make plays. Asante Samuel, I love that kid. I think he's a really good player. Of course you don't bat that down. Why would you? Things are going poorly for Florida State. Things are going poorly for your football team. You are right there. You have covered it perfectly. You don't have to intercept it. You can't let it be a 75-yard touchdown, but that's exactly what happened, because that's what happens to Florida State football teams right now. They shrink in the moment. They don't make the play when they have to make it. So for Fagan, I know it was a bad throw, but at least he broke on it and caught it. He caught the darn thing. And then the DJ making that leaping catch. A good throw by Hornibrook, great catch. And then, Terry being really fast. And Akers always doing what Akers does. And then Marvin and Durden late in the game making those plays. Good. Finally feel good about yourself, because in a big moment, on a big stage, you've now shown that you can make – and big stage is being very, very relative. You can at least have some experience of making a positive play when the game is on the line, instead of always making the wrong play.
I just wish there just could be like a middle ground practicality amongst the fan base of.
But don't you think most of them are like me and you?
No, I really don't.
I think you judge a lot by the message boards, but I think most people are like.
I guess you're right. I do take a lot of stock on what our subscribers say on warchant.com and on the Tribal Council.
But they're obviously
my friends weren't happy about the win. My brother and our group text, they weren't happy about the win. Right. I mean, I don't want to say they weren't angry. I mean, there's people that claim that
curious about another 21-point lead, right?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, people
should be mad about that, because it's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen in college athletics. For 3 times in a row, you've blown an 18 or a 21-point lead.
I think there's people that are pro. And there's people that are pro Taggart. I mean, there's people that go on every thread and defend Willie and say this, that, and the other that accuse people of being upset that Florida State won, which is no, man. I mean, I don't think anybody pays $10 a month and roots against Florida State.
That would be weird.
You know,
I think sometimes they want to be more right. They'd rather be right than maybe their team win. Yeah. But I think those are the rare exceptions.
Right. I just feel that it's a 60-minute football game and the good outweighed the bad, but there's a lot of bad still there that makes you feel a little bit anxious and have trepidation about the future. I just wish people could realize, man, all right, I'm glad we won, but gosh, we got to figure this stuff out. But to your point, I think some of these things are being figured out. The run defense looked really good. For
long stretches,
3/4 of the game.
Absolutely.
So, those are obviously encouraging things. And listen, Willie talked about insulating themselves, the cocoon, which, somebody talked to him and come up with another term than cocoon. We
clutter-free environment,
or just we got to batten down into the trenches or something, or the bunker mentality.
You don't like it? What's wrong with cocoon?
Come on, man, you guys aren't a pupa. We're not a butterfly.
They're about to blossom into a butterfly. Isn't that what you call it? Blossoming? What is it? What is it when it becomes a butterfly?
Metamorphosizing.
Yeah, they're about to. Yeah, they're into a beautiful butterfly.
Beautiful monarch butterfly. I did think it was funny. Marvin Wilson talked about we're blocking everything out. We got to keep the negative out of here. That's why we're off social media. And then he joked about, but his mom still texts him and tells him, hey, this is what people are saying.
You ain't ever off social media in 2019. People around you are going to tell you what is being said or tweeted or written about you.
I feel it's really nothing almost short of incredible that how hard they continue to play for Willie Taggart. Again, a lot of guys that weren't even recruited by him really play hard for him. They still believe in him. And it seems like they're going out there and playing really hard for him week in and week out, which to me is a pretty incredible thing considering everything that's, from the outside that's swirling out there. Did you sense any defiance or the saltiness kind of from Willie? When he kind of mentioned that a few times, I feel like, the negativity that's out there. I don't know if he's kind of talking to us, if he's talking to the fans that are on social media, but there's a little bit of, hey, knock it off, I felt like from him.
Yeah, no, I didn't sense that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just didn't sense it. He has brought it up a lot. I thought it was a weird. I didn't even know if they were asked these questions or they just brought it up on their own about the. It's just a good win for that program. It's not a good win for the history of Florida State football,
despite it being the 300th victory inside the confines of
Doak Campbell Stadium. Huge, good stuff. Probably of those 300, it's in the top. I would
15?
Say 280 most memorable. But it's a big win for Willie Taggart. And it's a big win for the dudes on this roster, but the Canes don't usually win those games.
Is Louisiana Monroe the worst win in Doak Campbell history?
Oh, it has to be. Has to be.
What about, was it Jacksonville State?
Yeah, but at least that when you held them to 9, and they had Perlew.
Yeah.
They at least had a decent quarterback. Yeah. I don't even know what. And then I don't think they lost the next week, 71-20.
Samford in the lower 50.
Oh yeah, for sure. There have been some bad teams that they've beaten, but anytime you're FCS, that's a bad one. And then, that Louisiana Monroe one's it might be number one. Or number 300.
We got an off week coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to rank those. Right? Top 300 wins in Doak history. Or 301 maybe, if they take care of business. I don't remember what I was talking about. About Willie and the negativity. Yeah. But I think he usually has a pretty good grasp on what, at least publicly when he talks to us, talking about, if you want him to say nice things, play better. Mm-hmm. I think he kind of understands it. Maybe he's using that as a rallying cry, like nobody else believes in it.
I do think it is, man.
But also, he's right. Nobody does believe in him. Yeah. It's not.
There are some that are still.
Not many. Not many of us. Not many of the fans.
I see the.
I see the half full stadium.
I see the pro positive messages on War Chant will get 40 likes, 50 likes. The people that come in and are a little bit more half empty, cynical, will get 3 or 4 likes. So I think there is a sort of silent minority. I don't know where the numbers split, but there's a lot of people out there that really do think that things are turning in the right direction, that he's the guy.
I think you saying a lot is a lot of people out there. I think is a very. I think you're over
reckless.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
You're overestimating that. I think there are some people that are. I think more people have jumped off the fence that are still on it, but they're still hanging out.
Yeah.
You win next week, maybe they're starting to – well, I don't know because then you got Clemson after that. But
That's all right.
Either way, if you –
There's a thread asking, can we beat them? I got a good feeling about it. I thought we were going to go 2-10. Now 8-4 is definitely a possibility.
I think 7-5 is a possibility, not a probability. I think the best you can really hope for is 6-6. But don't they look in all facets? And I'm always doing – I know they want to forget last year. I'm always doing it in the perspective of last year. Don't they look in all facets better coached? 5 penalties.
Right.
The special teams
But
aren't a train wreck other than the kicks.
Is,
No, for sure. And I'm talking about these last 2 weeks. Because, yes, the first 2 weeks the defense was just a joke. It was an absolute joke, and he's lucky he didn't get fired. It was so bad. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this really is the Levitt effect. By the way, we'll talk about that video. I don't know if it's the Levitt effect or what, but these last 2 weeks, they have at least played hard. Yep. There haven't been dudes running completely free. Remember their first touchdown?
They had a wheel route. Guy ran open.
Sure, that's going to happen, but it wasn't every play.
Okay.
The first touchdown came on a fake punt and a great throw in the corner of the end zone. Sometimes that happens. At least they had to make plays.
Right.
They had to make plays to beat you.
Make them earn it.
The last touchdown, you have your 4-star parade All-American, 5-star corner right there with him. He doesn't make the play. Gives him a 75-yard touchdown. So at least they look to be better coached, and they're also playing a lot better up front and a lot more physical. So those are nice strides. To me, when you think about last year where it was Game 3, Game 4, a lot of it has to do with who's calling the offense now because that's worlds better. But it just seems like it's a step. It's not a leap. It's not a leap. It's not.
That's the fair thing. I think it's a step. I think there's people that want to make it a leap, but I don't think it is. But it's a step for sure.
But me with all that said, and I've been kind of trying to preach that it's about the process and not the results, and you can't get hung up on it that much. If they had lost that game, even if they had looked good for 2.5 or 3 quarters or whatever you would have said, if they'd have blown another 21-point lead, I don't know that I'm not here saying this can't continue. Mm-hmm. That would have been rash and dumb, and I hope you would have talked me out of it.
I would have told 2021.
I think most Florida State fans would have been right there with me. This is ridiculous. There is something inherently wrong with this team or this coaching staff that they routinely blow 21-point leads at home to inferior teams. Mm-hmm. It's not like you get up 21 on Alabama and you know they're coming back. It's Louisiana Monroe. It's Boise. It's
2-10
flipping Louisville. Year, they aren't great teams. Boise's okay. They're pretty good. I think they're still undefeated.
They are.
But just that would have been a dagger of a loss to have another one.
Hey, let's take a break and talk about a few more things and wrap things up here on Wake Up War Champ presented by Zaxby's.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Knolls since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back. It's Wake Up War Champ presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan, Corey Clark in the house as well. Also, I mentioned that it's nothing short of incredible to me. Again, how hard they're continuing to play for Willie Taggart. What Kendall Browse and Randy Clements are doing right now, I think
incredible.
It's absolutely incredible.
And I hate that these insane stretches of great play followed by abysmal play almost kind of tarnishes a little bit because you have the memory of 8 straight drives and getting 21 points in 3 drives, then going scoreless for 7. That's happened 3 times now. But I got numbers for you. You didn't even know I was going to do this.
Oh, okay. Some research.
All right, yeah. So through 4 games last year against FBS opponents, so I'm not counting the Sanford game.
All right, so 3 games.
No, before. So their first 4 games against FBS opponents, which included Northern Illinois and Louisville. So it's very similar to this schedule. Florida State averaged 18.8 points per game in those 4.
Right.
This year they're averaging 33.8.
Okay.
So that's a nice step up. I'd say 15 points is a pretty
almost
doubling.
Nice.
They averaged 353 yards per game. Right now they're averaging 445, so almost 100 yards per game.
Whole another trip down the field.
9 total touchdowns they scored in those 4 games last year.
Offensive or
offensively?
Okay.
18 this year.
Doubled
that up.
That's a good number.
They had 2.5 yards per carry last year. This year, not great, but 3.7. They have 138 rushing yards per game this year. Last year, they had 88.3. 62 first downs last year, 96 this year. So you're talking about 9 extra first downs a game. Yeah. You're talking about 50 extra rushing yards, a yard and a half per carry. We get it. This offensive line, you look at those grades on Pro Football Focus, it's still pretty ugly. Dante Lucas is the best one of the bunch, and he hadn't been great. But these guys are at least coaching well enough that they can still make plays and score points.
Ryan Roberts was the highest grade offensive lineman at 60.7. His pass blocking was 48.7.
Yeah.
And he was protecting your quarterback's blind side for half of the game.
Right.
It's incredible. I mean, I hate the –
But isn't that incredible? But also 15 extra points per game,
yeah,
9 extra first downs, 100 yards of offense.
It's nuts.
That is a huge deal.
And, people are going to start, throwing stuff at their screen or whatever. It's hard to think that they're going to stick around for 2 more years maybe. I just feel like what they're putting together, him and Clements, I don't know how much of the stink of his family name is around him. I don't think it will become around December when people want new coaches at their universities. But what he's doing here is going to definitely be another sort of pelt on his wall or whatever. I don't know. Another feather in his cap is probably a better one. It's incredible what they're doing.
Yeah, it's been really, really impressive.
I hate saying this because it's a backhanded compliment at the kid. But, man, to Abdul Bello is your left tackle, and they're still going up and down the field and I know it's Louisville, say what you will. I think it's a little bit of a better team than they were last year. It's a conference game. It's a team that came in hungry. They wanted to win that game. It's still Florida State. Everyone is going to give you their best shot. I mean, Abdul Bello is blocking your quarterback's blind side for half the game, and then the other half is Ryan Roberts. And Randy Clements is figuring out. Ira, I thought was pretty cool, was talking about it last night over dinner with us. Or on Saturday night, just about as soon as James went down, like Kendall's first inclination was like, okay, it turns into him and Randy are like, all right, this is what we got to do. Like the whiteboard comes out and they're scribbling stuff up and probably talking about, all right, so we got to.
There's some things they can't do, some things they can do, and then obviously the blind side changes.
To do that on the fly, and this thing just keeps going. It's remarkable, man. It's what they're doing is incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, and again, we're not saying it's a good offense. It's a pretty good offense.
Yeah.
Top 50 offense. Last year it was like 118 in one season. Now they got some big boy defenses down the line that they still got to play. But last year they didn't move the ball on anyone except Northern Illinois. And they got kind of lucky on a 70-yard drive against Louisville at the end. Not lucky that the drive was fine, but to get the ball back. So that gave them 70 extra yards in that game that they wouldn't have had and another touchdown. So they were just so bad last year. And now they're competent, even more than competent. Yeah. They're good, pretty good. With that bad offensive, see, you can't coach around it sometimes. Yes. You can make adjustments and coach around it a little bit. So that's good to see. The defense has looked worlds better the last 2 weeks. The worlds better. Still not good.
The run defense especially.
Yeah.
Run defense
especially. Yeah. Still not good. We get it. But at least they're hitting hard and they're kind of dominating the line of scrimmage against those two teams. NC State will be a different – didn't they lose a bunch of linemen from last year?
I think so.
I feel like they had a really good line last year.
Their offensive line coach is the OC at Louisville, too.
Oh, okay. Right, that's right.
He was their O-line coach.
Yeah, and I remember their offensive line last year was something crazy. Like they gave up 6 sacks the whole season. So they were really good. I don't know how many of those guys are back. I'll probably have to look that up before the game. But overall, I think you're okay with what you see. You're okay with what you see. It's a hard team to talk about, man. Yeah. Because you watch that game and you come away from it going, all right, man, that's a pretty good win. There you go, Knowles. There you go. That might start something. Nice here this year. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. They did blow a 21-point lead at home again, and we're down 24-21, and the team was driving to maybe put them away until they got the turnover. And then what?
Well, and then they also were driving back down and, had to kick a field goal. Well, no, they made a stop to make Florida State kick a field goal. We're going to get the ball back with the opportunity to win the game? Or to tie the game?
To tie the game. So a couple things there. Again, like I said, I want to talk about also, I don't understand it. And I'm not even being joking anymore. I will work for Florida State if they need someone to tell them when to call timeouts and when not to.
Oh, yeah, you were upset about this.
It's ridiculous.
Not upset, but you were concerns.
It made almost less sense than it's 3 out of the 4 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks in a row. We all remember the timeout before the punt against Louisiana Monroe, and not letting the clock run down, just calling the timeout to give them more time to go down the field and score. The next week, late in the first half against Virginia, They have a goal-to-go situation, and they call a timeout with like a minute 12 left or something. They call timeout right after the first down play was done, as if the time was a factor. You want to score with 9 seconds on the clock. Why are you worried about getting a timeout and stopping the clock with 33 on the play clock? Let that bad boy run. You only got 2 plays to run anyway. You can get those off in 35 seconds. Excuse me. And then they don't have any time to go back down the field and score. And in that game, they were driving, and then he threw a pick to Taylor, Levante. They could have almost at least gotten in a field goal range. And then this game, Louisville has the ball after that fake punt. It was like a marathon 18-play drive. They're at your 10-yard line, I think, somewhere around there. You stop them on second down with a minute 15 left. You have 3 timeouts. I'm almost positive it's goal to go. So you know they only have 1 more play to run, and you're getting the ball back. Wouldn't you want to get the ball back with a minute 15 on the clock and 2 timeouts as opposed to 44 seconds left, which is what you got? Oh, yeah, and they scored. It just doesn't make any sense why somebody's not in Willie Taggart's ear saying, if he doesn't know to do it, there's a lot of football minds on that staff. Nobody can say, hey, man, call timeout. We want to go down the field and score. You remember this guy that you hired for $1.1 million that's already scored 21 points and we can score in 60 seconds? And we can run 8 plays in 60 seconds? Why would you cut 30 seconds off our chance to go score? And so they drive down the field, but instead of trying to score a touchdown, they try to set up a field goal, and Ashenko misses it. And now you're looking at
Shenko, is that what he's called?
Ashenko. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It's not a grado. So that's 3 weeks in a row now where the time management just leaves you stumped. And it happens everywhere. It's not Willie Taggart specific. We were talking about the Bucs game. Yeah. These coaches, it's like they're not blockheads. They're smart enough to. I mean, Bruce Arians has been coaching since what? Kennedy was president? I mean, he's been coaching forever. Yeah. And he gets to delay a game with a timeout in his pocket with 13 seconds left at the 10-yard line. And then after the game, he says, "Oh, well, our kicker, he likes to be further back. Yeah. He doesn't. He's better than on a 34-yarder apparently than on a 29-yarder. Which, by the way, if they don't get to delay a game, that 34-yarder probably would have been good from 29 before it. So I don't. And we talked about Narduzzi. Yeah. We can talk about Kirby Smart. With that decision to not kick a field goal on 4th and 1 instead of trying to end the game with 1 yard. And that gets me back to Taggart at the 1-yard line, up 4 with 2 minutes left. The other team has no timeouts, 2:30 left, I think. Him settling for a field goal to go up 7. I get it. I understand it from the football strategy perspective, but you're 1 yard from ending the game. You're 1 yard from the game being over. You're up 11 with 2.5 minutes to go. Not only that, even if you don't get it, they have to go 99 yards on you with no timeouts, as opposed to 75 yards. So you're giving them an extra 24 yards by kicking the field goal. And don't you think if they go down the field and score a touchdown, they have a pretty good shot in overtime? Like, I don't know that I feel great about a 7-point difference as opposed to a 4-point difference.
Well, I mean, you get a bad snap, you fumble the ball, throw the ball, it gets tipped. It's easier to return a pick 6 when you're in that kind of situation, I feel like.
Yeah,
there's so much green grass
and there's all strategy. That's all second guessing, and that's what we do. It's armchairing, but not the timeout stuff
in the second.
That's the second quarter with a minute 15 left. He went into halftime with 2 timeouts that he didn't even get to use, right. But and then they could have scored a touchdown and been up 28-7 at the half. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long ramble, but it's all these coaches, man, not just Willie. Jimbo was not good at it either. He'd be milking a lead late in games, have an 11-point lead with 6 minutes left, and they're snapping it with 18 on the play clock for no real reason. It's not like they're rushing to the line. Sometimes it just doesn't seem like it occurs to these coaches.
I did like Brian Kelly. I thought there was one time in that game where he made a good use of a timeout to almost force Georgia to have to run the ball on a 3rd and long.
Yeah, right.
But they still threw the ball, though.
They did,
right?
But it was the right play. It was the exact right timeout because you're like, okay, now they got to run the ball because they want to run 40 seconons off the clock.
Yeah. Make them one-dimensional so you know what they're going to do.
But they threw an incomplete pass anyway, right, or something, right? Yeah.
I think so. Let's I guess talk about Jim Leavitt, the celebration video. I don't even know who the coach was, but apparently I think it was Isaiah Bolden. It was King Bolden. It looked like it was the Snapchat handle. Posted locker room video after the game, celebratory. Alex Hornibrook hinted at it, saying there's a lot of coaches in there, and maybe they had no business dancing. Joking.
I thought when he said that, like, they hadn't done a good enough job to dance when he said it the first time. Like, yeah, you don't deserve to dance. But I misunderstood what he meant until I saw the video.
I heard Ira talk about, the fun police have showed up. I didn't read a lot of the replies. Maybe I should go in there and check it out. What was your thoughts at it?
Well, it's a wild celebration. Not wild as in dangerous, just they are really, really happy, and they're dancing, and Levitt has his hat on sideways and dancing. And it's like, you know what? Let these kids that haven't gotten to enjoy a lot of wins enjoy a win. It doesn't mean they're satisfied. It doesn't mean that they're happy where they are, but that was a good win for that team. It's not a good win for Florida State football. It was a good win for the 2019 Florida State football team, and they should be happy about it. And what are they supposed to do? I'm sure the Louisiana Monroe locker room afterwards, when they won that game, probably wasn't a lot of dancing. But they deserve that one. They deserve that one. I don't think that means they're going to, get big-headed or think that it's okay to just win 2 games this year. But for what they went through, blowing another lead, having all those, I'm sure, thoughts, here we go again, creep up, for them to rally back, yeah, man, good win.
The first reply was, the swagger is back.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, good to see the boys having fun. We needed that one. Go Noles. That's awesome.
I think there was some stuff on Twitter about, I can't believe they're celebrating like this after Louisville. A lot of that will come with former players. Right. And frankly, those former players, while they have much, much love for the program and they help build it, they don't know what it's like to be on a team that's 6-10 in its last 16 games or whatever it is. I mean,
oh well, that's what I meant to say that.
Right,
30 seconds prior.
But they don't know that. They don't know what it's like to not ever get to celebrate wins. Yeah. Florida State is not in a place right now, sadly, where it can just shrug off wins over a team that was 2-10 last year.
Yeah, a couple people. We have fallen. What the hell is that?
No, duh.
After beating a 2-10 Louisville team, I have no words for what has become of this program. Seminole 72, who is a well-respected poster, over 26,000 posts since August of 2007. They should enjoy it, but we just beat a team that's now lost 9 straight in the ACC. Swagger? Question mark? SMH. Sure.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But that is fair. But it's also fair to point out that it's Florida State. Yeah, no duh. Florida State has fallen a lot where they celebrate these kind of things. It's just that's the reality we live in. Yeah. We're all living. We're all breathing. We're all watching this thing happen. We've seen it happen. So it isn't what it was. You're trying to get it back there. But it isn't what it was. So, of course, the reactions to an 11-point win over Louisville are going to be different this season than they even were in 14 when they were down 21-0 in that game, and they came back. Like, I was in that post game, and they were happy with the comeback, but nobody was singing and dancing and laughing and having a great time because they weren't really fired up with the way they played. They were also in the midst of, I think that was their 23rd straight win. So things are a little different 5 years later.
Good times, good times. There was something else that was I thought was maybe worth mentioning before we left for the day, but I don't remember what it is, Corey.
I want to give Brady a shout-out since I was talking about all the woes.
Yeah, what's going on?
Had a good weekend.
Okay, what's going on?
Had 6 plate appearances. Got on base 5 times. Had a big double.
Nice.
Played flawless in the field. Starting to maybe get a little confidence back, we're hoping. So, the spankings helped, guys. That they really work. I didn't want to do it. Right. I didn't want to do it, but some people might say even 11-year-olds maybe too. He's in middle school. Maybe that's too big to spank. Oh no, absolutely. You keep stepping out. I don't know what else to do.
You can't end a game on a strikeout. He's a Clark.
Right. So
Can't reward bad behavior.
A lot of that. I didn't let him sleep one night. I did the Clockwork Orange thing where I peeled his eyes open so he couldn't he just had to watch the video of the swing over and over again. So either way, he came out of it. Things are looking good. And I'm not that anybody cares about this, but I'm not real fired up about the sports parent that I've become. Like I take it much more seriously than I should. And so I'm taking a step back from it.
I think you're
No. I'm okay. I realize that it's 11-year-old baseball. But in the moment, not in the moment, like I don't yell at umpires. I don't really even yell at – the only time I yell at Brady is like when he just takes strikes, really. But even then, I don't even need to be yelling at him then. I just need to not be
you'll yell from the stage, like, come on, Brady, you got to swing. Like you'll bark out something.
But you just like swing the bat, man, like that. I don't embarrass myself or him. I'm not one of those parents. But when we practice together and I'm trying to get him better, all I'm doing is making him worse because I'm putting way too much pressure on him, and it means way too much to me.
But don't you have to practice? You have to put him in the situation where he's going to face it in the
but
box.
I'm not. But he's not Tiger, and I'm not Earl Woods, and it's not doing him any good. Some kids I think respond really well to that. I'm sure. But after doing this for a while,
he's more EJ than Jameis when it comes to the
absolutely. He needs to be told that he's really good. He needs to be told that he's really good. He is really good, and I think I've really hurt his confidence. And it's he just doesn't even like going and doing batting practice with me because he knows I'm going to get mad at him. Again, I'm not yelling at him. I'm not throwing beanball. Well, I am yelling at him. I'm not throwing balls at his face or anything. But I do get mad every time he does something I told him I just told him not to do, and I get way too mad. And then that was very evident this past weekend. So I've decided taking a step back.
And look what's happened.
Exactly. Well, I wasn't there. That's another thing. It's like, when I'm not there because he got the big double on Saturday, I'm like, that's probably not even a coincidence, is it? That I'm not there and he hits a big double. So So I've taken a little look in the mirror, a little self-reflection, and gonna just try to be an encouraging dad from now on and not be his coach. That's what me and Shannon talked about mainly was like he's got coaches. I don't need to be his coach. I just need to be somebody that's there to support him.
So you're starting with the man in the mirror? You're asking him to change his ways?
I'm trying to make him change his ways. I wish the guy in that mirror would have changed his ways. The guy's singing those words.
Kind of want to mention that maybe for a second before we go, though.
Michael Jackson? We getting back into the Michael Jackson
Well, just
talk?
the whole, tough love, maybe not good thing, just loving on guys. Because that's, again, it's Willie's ethos is to coach these guys up, put his arm around them. And he said that he thinks part of the reason why they were able to shake out of against Louisville is that he's starting to see guys that are playing for each other. Hugh Freeze talked about that sort of stuff when he was at Ole Miss, and I thought it was totally cheesy, but they actually turned things around based on that. So, maybe these wins, when you start getting them, and the rest of these games are going to be close ones, and the more of them you can stack up, and you are playing hard for each other, and it's not a selfish motivation or
when you're not a great team, I think that's a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're not supremely talented,
right.
It is a big deal to play for each other and really play to win and just have each other's back and all that nonsense. No, I shouldn't say nonsense because I believe it. When you're somebody like a Florida State or a Miami or a Boston College or a Syracuse, I think that does matter, right? It's not a huge difference. You still got to make plays.
And then when you mix that with supreme talent, you get Clemson.
But exactly right. Yeah, they're just the machine. How about Charlotte putting 10 on them, though? Good on you, 49ers. Did you see Lawrence was 7 of 9? Like he just played. He must have done 2 drives and all right, you're done.
Spread was 41. They won 52-10. Las Vegas, man. Las Vegas. Oh, then real quick, injury-wise, you mentioned a little bit at the beginning. James Blackman, we've heard, Gene Williams, founder and administrator of WarChant.com, has heard it is either a grade 1 or 2 MRI sprain, which is on the
MCL, right?
MCL, I'm sorry, MRI. The MRI showed a grade 1, grade 2.
We don't need the MRI getting sprained.
No, that'd be a bad thing. So it probably won't be clear. We're not assuming on Saturday, but it sounds like probably more of a weeks thing as opposed to months.
Right. Yeah, when he went down, man, I'm like, this might be the ender. This might be the season ender. Right. So, I know there are people out that are going to be clamoring, and they want Alex Hornibrook, and they're not glad that James Blackman got hurt, but they're glad now that Hornibrook is the starting quarterback. Right. You still need depth, and it is a big deal if he comes back healthy. Maybe he doesn't come back and start, but you still need depth. Because you just do. You just need depth in this day and age. And then
Jaden Lars would be –
he's done.
He tweeted, and he got carted off, air cast on his ankle. And
so he broke his ankle, right?
I think usually what happens is you dislocate your ankle, and when you dislocate your ankle, it's also you also end up in the process breaking like your tibia or your fibia, one of your lower leg bones.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. So a Gainer's just going to be playing a ton now.
We would assume, because I think Emmitt Smith left the game. I don't know if Emmitt Rice. Emmitt Smith hopefully never steps in the game for us. Let me go look and see how many reps or snaps that Emmitt Rice got in the game, because I thought he played quite a good bit early on in the game. So. But yeah, he exited the game, which was not.
I think he ended up coming back. I think.
Well, he only played 26 snaps. And he was the lowest graded guy in the entire defense.
Yeah. So you're gonna have a lot of Warner, Dontavius.
And this will be an abrupt end to the show because as Corey was going over the options at linebacker, I ran out of space on the memory card for our show. But, hey, it was about an hour's worth of Florida State football talk, which is plenty for everybody. We're going to go talk to Willie Taggart. We'll be back tomorrow, as always, for another edition of Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great one.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.